impact do I think this work is having? I think it's having a huge impact on the way I'm teaching. I think I'm now much more able to give evidence for the learning that's going on in my situations. I think I have improved my practice. And I think as well, the fact that I'm now more and more working with MA students, and the fact that I am now a researcher into my practice, and I can actually say and talk to students about being a learner and how that's been for me, and how looking at my practice has energised things, is I'm not a role model, I wouldn't want to put myself in that position, but it actually, students have said that they like that feeling that we're all learning together, and I think this is modelling that, which I think is a good thing to do in a teacher educator. And the last thing, I've put up my email address where you can get copies of this slide and anything else that I've talked about today. Thank you. What I'd like to do is ask you now for any questions. I mean, we have other people here who also are engaged in doing educational theory, so maybe, I don't know whether we could actually do an hour, but whether or not we could actually just get your thoughts, or whether it relates to the practice, your practice at all. When you nodded, clearly you're a teacher, are you? Does any of that resonate with you?
It does, because like, I'm secondary, so slightly different, but at the end of the day you have to engage the kids. And the way I do my teaching is, I see teaching as sort of 30% content and 70% theatre. And it's very much a case of, if you can get them engaged and get them motivated and get them on, you'll get them on side much more than you will if you don't pay any attention to them and stuff. And it's interesting that when you moved into lecturing, basically, teaching teachers how to teach, that all of a sudden what you base your practice on, which is your personality and engaging the children, and the sort of banter that you have with them and the nurturing that you do. It's ironic that when you're then actually in a position to teach the new generation of teachers, that it's so difficult to do because of the way it's set up. And I think I think you're absolutely right with that. Because I think back to when I did teacher training, and you didn't really have a relationship with people that were trying to teach you how to be good teachers.
It's a relational process, isn't it?
And I think it must be so difficult, especially if that's how you work, which you obviously do.
But it isn't impossible. That's what I've learned. That it is absolutely possible to, I mean, obviously you're not going to engage everybody, because obviously as adult learners, there has to be an understanding that they bring something to they're active learners. But it's absolutely, I've changed the way I teach large groups. I was modelled a situation where I stood at the front, up went the PowerPoint, and I actually talked to that. Now I do lots of activities. Colleagues and I team teach now, which puts pressure on our timetables, but we see the value of team teaching. We work to a lot. Now, that might be something other people are doing, but what I'm trying to do is take that out and understand it and theorise that in terms of my practice. So I'm not saying that I'm doing anything wonderfully new. What I am saying is that I now understand what I'm doing and a little bit more about why I'm doing it, which I think is important. It's become absolutely crucial for me, and others that I'm working with.
Yes, a lovely presentation, thank you. And I wonder if it would be possible for you to speak about how you are now exercising your educational influence in developing the work. I mean, I happen to know you are doing master's work, you're working with the teachers now, you're also developing online programs. I think those are very, very important pieces to show how you're learning from this experience. Now you are bringing that learning to influence other people's learning.
Well, I think there's nothing more energising, if you like, than watching somebody learn. I mean, that's why I think we are in the business of teaching and learning. That's why I enjoy teaching so much, because when you are working alongside somebody who's learned. Now, I've come to realise that how powerful that modelling is, if you like. So certainly in terms of influencing the learning of others, which I am trying to do, I'm trying to model myself as a learner to start with. So looking at the work I do with students and talking about the possibilities around putting I at the centre of what you do has been very important. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but you're actually doing very practical things to
Yes.
enable people to access opportunities. Now you're
Yes.
doing your online modules, you're working with masters students now and teaching them how to do action research.
Yes, I mean I'm working alongside fourth year dissertation, undergraduate dissertation students, and we do they're doing dissertations, and we're looking closely at action research and particularly self-study action research. And what's been interesting is helping them to working alongside them to understand that actually, because their first thought is, I haven't got a practice yet. You know, they think that they've got nothing to talk about because they've got no practice. But what's been most powerful is their opportunity to realise that actually their teaching and learning experience to date and everything that's going to come ahead of them is grounded in actually their values, which they do hold really quite clearly, and that's been a learning thing for me and enjoyable for me. So that work has been important to me. This development of the online MA modules, again, is me putting myself in that situation where I'm a living contradiction. I'm saying I value relational teaching and learning, and here I am developing a module where it's all online, and you know, come and see me once a year. But I would argue that there's a way of doing that so that you can still nurture the learner through that, and there's a collaborative process that can go on, and that I'm going to be interested over the year to see whether I can live out my values in that situation. So this is not a static process. I'm certainly not presenting this as a work done. For me, I see this stretching ahead and energising my practice for a long time to come. Yes.
So I was going to ask you to perhaps say a little bit more about what you feel is the power and potential of peer collaboration. Because my sort of work at a number of different levels, using action research and also other types of research, is that there's huge effectiveness really in working alongside other people in similar situations or perhaps slightly different stages in the process who can support and mentor each other and give feedback. Now you mentioned at the start you found it very enabling.
It's
huge. You mentioned sort of peer validation. And I just wondered, is that an ongoing aspect of your now self-study work that you're doing with a group of colleagues? And
it's
how
crucial
is that
to
working?
me. It's absolutely crucial to me, and I see it on different levels because I don't just see it as collaboration with colleagues, although that's crucial to me because we are critical friends. We are, we discuss ideas. That's very important. But also the collaboration with the students that I have now, despite the difficulties of the circumstances, are huge. And I'm very, very keen to enhance the peer collaboration that's going on amongst the students, because when you've got a body of 90 students in front of you and you want to do practical tasks with them, you rely on good peer collaboration. So it's been very important for me in setting up this idea with them and trying to break them down into groups so that they can work and feedback and learn off each other in this strange situation. It's been very important that they understand the importance of peer collaboration and how they can learn from each other. So again, modelling that has been very important, and colleagues and I do that. Colleagues and I try to model that sense of learning from each other within the sessions that we have.
Can I ask, is that what you do? It feels to me this is what you're doing now. You know, that sense of peer collaboration.